That we're going to get on to servicing my dumpster dive. 185,000 BTU HeatStar. So we picked this up last year. It was, they were building a house down the road, and it was towards the end of the winter. I seen this sitting out in the top of a snowbank. Well, 10 days later, it was still sitting there, so I said, oh, it must be broken. So I went over and I asked the owner who was building the house, is he getting rid of it? And he says, yeah, it's broken, but I can't do anything with it because it's still got like 6 gallons of diesel in it, because I can't throw it out. So I asked him if I could have it, and he said, sure, take it. What it was, I dragged it over. It had two flat tires. They were using it when they were doing stucco on the house and the brickwork. So I pumped up the 2 front tires and they held air, and that was last year. I checked the diesel. It was full of, looked like algae, a whole bunch of stuff floating. The sand and the motor dust and everything else, and there was a lot in the tank, and like I say, it looked like an algae build up to it also. This one has a drain on the back right here. So I drained the diesel out, and then I ran it through a filter, and then I ran it in my heater, which is over here. And then I added more diesel, and I shook it around. A whole bunch more stuff came out. It was like, so I filtered that out and I burnt that. And I put a couple more gallons in it. So I did it a couple of times. And of course now it's getting late in the season. And so I had enough diesel to get through the season. So I kind of just put this in the corner, empty. I don't know if you can see it, but there's still some stuff floating around. Not as bad as what it was. It's still got a bit of stuff left in there. So I'm going to add another gallon and a half of diesel and stuff a rag down there and use something long and around all the corners. And I'm just going to push the rag back and forth and then pull the rag out and then drain it. I did start it briefly. At first I plugged it in. It just wouldn't start. It would just go through its cycle and shut off. It has its pressure gauge here and it has an adjustment right here. So I turn this further in to increase the air pressure, and it did fire. So I shut it down right away.
Did fire?
Well, when I say it did fire, it did start. It did create heat. And then I shut it down, and then I start cleaning the tank. So I know it runs. I know it's good, but it definitely needs a good cleaning. And before I start it, I already know it runs, but I want to get all the stuff out of there, clean the filters, clean the inside because it was in construction and you can see it. It's got stuff all over it. So I want to clean it up, clean the inside of the tank, clean the nozzle, clean the air filters that are in it. Basically, I'm just going to service the whole thing and make it look better than what it is and get some fresh diesel in there. And then I may keep it and get rid of my other one. If you look over here also, I'll turn it around. It's missing a screw here. It's got 3 in there. It looks like they took it apart, trying to figure out what was wrong with it. So it's got all the screws missing here. So I have to go basically bad diesel that was in here. By increasing the pressure, I probably pushed the dirt through the nozzle. Anyway, so we're going to go through the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to get some diesel in here and get a rag inside there and just start moving it all the way around the tank. The problem with the pump is the battery has been sitting there all summer. It's probably going to be a little on the low side.
Working.
Yeah, it's usually a lot quicker than that. Yeah, okay, that's enough diesel in there. I can see it's picking up some of the junk in there already. Okay, we grinded the head off, which is right here. I just used a Dremel. I didn't want to scratch the paint. Okay, so that takes this part off. I'll bring that in the house and put it in the laundry tub and wash it. The filters on these are normally just little plastic things. You just have to blow out with air. Okay, so side cover off. The filter's right here. Take that off. It's actually clockwise to take it off. So there's the filter. I gotta grab a rag. Remember that if you do it. So it's clockwise to take it out. There's some dirt and not much. Because I did, when I first got it last year, I did take this out and I put air in here and I blew it out. That's why it's clean as it is. When I first pulled it out last year, it had a whole bunch of algae and everything all coated over this. So now we'll get my rag in the tank. There. Let's take this out like that. Just get it out of my way. Okay, let's get this in there. Get it cleaned up. The only thing I got to watch for is I don't damage the level gauge. Okay, so that's pretty much everything out of there. Okay, so we put the fuel cap back in. That way when I shake it, it doesn't all spill out of here. And then we'll put the filter in. The filter is clean. Like I say, I did have this apart last year, but I knew I wanted to take a rag and wipe the tank down just to get the last bit of it up. I also used a bit of diesel conditioner in with the diesel last year. We'll get this in. And counterclockwise to tighten it up. Okay, it's tight. I may as well put this fuel line back in. I'll put a wire tie in there after. For now, I'm just going to shake the thing back and forth and then drain it. Just taking a flathead screwdriver and putting it on the edge of this. Okay, so we put our container underneath and we'll lower it down.
Oh, that's dirty.
Actually, not as bad as what it was when I first did it last year. When I first did it last year, it was full of everything. It's algae, whatever. The tank was full of that. But I did put a bunch of diesel fuel conditioner in diesel, and I let it sit overnight. Then I shook it and drained it. So I probably ran 5 gallons through this already, and this is the last one. I didn't put it on video before, I don't know why. And we'll just tighten this back up. I'll put a bit of diesel in there just to make sure it's not leaking before I fill it, because I still got a lot more work to do. I got all the filters to clean. Okay, so we'll be back. I'm gonna just run this through a shop rag. Okay, you can see how dirty everything was. If you take a look, this was in construction. You may have had it in the house too. There could be drywall dust in there too. It's everywhere. So I'm gonna take the filters out, the air pump filter out, and clean that all up. And while I'm at it, I may as well just, before I take this apart, I'm gonna try to blow some of this dust out of here. I'll open the door for that, and I'll take the cover off. I'll take that in the laundry tub and clean that best I can. Looks like they spilled a whole bunch of diesel when they were filling this, and he's got a bunch of kitty litter underneath this thing. Yeah, it's full of kitty litter because they spilled a bunch of diesel. Temperature sensors here. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to wash the filter in the house and the inner filter and let it dry, and then put it back together tomorrow. And then I'll bring something out. Like I say, it was a construction site, so I'm going to clean all that up. Same size, we're good. That should come out. Okay, and you can see this filter here, that's pretty black. So we take this off here. It's just a rubber. And just looking at this and looking at the filter and the way it's made and the motor on it, it's actually identical company as that one. So the identical parts would fit both. Okay, so I'll take that in and clean it also, because there's a little filter right here. And just remember that the square part comes out because the square part goes into the here and this filter. I don't think this is washable, but I'm going to wash it anyway. Okay, so you look at the mesh. When you put it back together, the mesh goes to the inside. So we'll remember that. And we'll take all that in and wash it. Actually, no, I'm not going to wash this. I don't want to get no water inside the gauge. I'll just wipe this down. We'll take this off. Actually, the air pump is working good. Probably wouldn't hurt to, yeah, it won't hurt to take it off. Not all screwdrivers are created equally. Some go in, they think you fit, and they don't. All they do is they strip out. And this is not a regular, this is a posi drive. And this is the next size up. Yeah, this one might work. Actually, it's not bad. A little bit of cleanup. Let's see if they're falling down. The surface on this has to be cleaned up a bit.
Okay, hold on. Just like I cannot. Okay, got it.
So you'll just clean that with some alcohol.
It's too bright.
Or brake cleaner. And you check, make sure that, hold the flashlights, go two hands.
Yeah, that one is good.
And you got to make sure they fall down. Yeah, like that. Okay, so this is working good. So I'm just going to clean it up. That's working perfect. It's not sticky, it's not nothing. So we're just going to clean it and put it back together. Okay, so we're going to take all this stuff in. I clean the filters in my laundry tub in the house, this filter. And those panels, I'll take those in and clean those. And I'll wipe all this down. And let the filters dry overnight, and I'll put it back together again tomorrow. We'll be back. For you, it's going to be in a couple seconds. For me, it's going to be the next day. So, we'll see you then. Okay, we're back the next day. All my filters are over here. They're all washed up. They're all dry. I checked the back of this. Everything's working in here. It's clean. It's not sticking. So I'm just going to wipe the back of the case and the face of this with a bit of alcohol and put it back together.
Holy cow, it's not recording. Bad.
Okay, we just get a little bit on here. You don't want to get nothing in there. Oop. Oh, okay. As I mentioned earlier, when you flip these around, they don't sit right. Okay, I just flipped one by wiping it down. I'll show you what I just did. I think I did flip one. No, I didn't. My bad. All the alcohol's dried off, so I'm just going to put this back cover back on. This is cleaned out. And this will be the last screw. Then I'll go around and snug them down, and I'll also turn the fan, make sure I didn't over tighten it. Sometimes if you over tighten it, the fan won't turn. Click, 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 click. Okay, so we'll get the filters in. Take the back cover. That pattern, like it looks like a screen, goes to the back, and this hole lines up where the gauge is. So it fits in there. And then this, you're gonna understand it goes on this way. That filter, the square part, has to go in there, so that will go here. That also goes to the gauge. And then I get screws in there. I get them in here so the gasket doesn't fall out when I put this in. You don't over tighten this. You could crack it, it is plastic. Okay, then you take air filter and you shove the air filter in. Okay, we get the side panels back on. Everything in here is good. Off camera, I cleaned all the drywall dust and cement dust off of here. Say it was full because it was in construction. Okay, we'll go to the other side and get the other side on. Or before we put this on, just to make sure I get no leaks, I'm just going to put a wire tie around that. Before I go any further, there's so much dust in here from all the construction it was in. I'm just going to clean this sensor and get all the dust off it, just so it doesn't shut itself off. If this doesn't see the flame, it would run a bit and then shut off. Okay, it's clean. I'll just clean it down here and put that back in. Okay, it's in. So when that senses the flame, we should be good. Okay, now I'm going to put the top on. I picked this stuff up at Home Hardware. There we go. 2 of these. Hopefully they fit. There's one, and there's one missing on the other side, so I'll put it over here. And only put in probably 2 gallons. Okay, even though it's low on diesel, we're going to give it a shot.
Good sound.
Igniter. Okay, it's working. We're going to shut it off. We're going to shut the door and we're going to face it inside, see how long it takes to heat this place up. Okay, we'll try it again. Let it cool down a bit before I put the diesel, because normally on these things, if you stir them right away, if you don't let the inside cool, the initial shot of diesel creates a lot of smoke. Okay, for testing, this is 185,000 BTU. So it's going to be eating up a lot of oxygen out of here. So I left my door open. Normally I turn my heat pump / air exchanger on, and it would constantly bring fresh air in and exchange the air, but it's off right now. It's with everything on, it'd be too loud for the video. So for now, I'm just going to try it, leave my door open a bit to get some oxygen in here. So we'll try it and see how long it takes to heat this up. Okay, floor is 12 degrees Celsius, 55 Fahrenheit. And the ceiling is 57 Fahrenheit, 14 degrees Celsius. Let's go through its fire up. What's that?
There's some fire. Come out.
There's a lot of dirt in it, which still has to be, I couldn't take it apart to clean, so a lot of it's going to have to get burnt out. Don't forget, it was in construction.
Why it's off?
Because it's set on, I think I only set it on 77.
Huh?
Let me grab my glasses. I set it low. You can adjust the temperature, and I have it set right now for 23 degrees Celsius. Basically just over 70 and 21 Celsius. So just over that, so a couple degrees above that. So when it hits, there's a temperature sensor inside here. When it senses it's hit that, it'll shut itself off. But it's only running a couple minutes.
Just like
And we've got 16 degrees Celsius on the ceiling, which is 62. And the floor is 57.5, which is 14.2. So everything went up a couple degrees. And if you wait long enough, it will come back on and start heating. You gotta understand, my Chinese diesel heater is still on in here. That's why I don't have a coat on. So it wasn't that hot in here, or it wasn't that cold in here to start with. Anyway, they're both made by the same company.
I know, but I'm
Well,
saying,
one is Mr. Heater, and the other one is
I'm saying
HeatStar. Okay, that's my repair of the HeatStar 185,000 BTU. It's working flawless. And so I now have two. I don't need to. So I'm probably going to put both of them on Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji. And whichever one sells first, I keep the other one. Because like I say, my garage, two are not required. This one heats it up fast. It's only on for a few minutes and it's shut off. This one takes a little longer. But of course, you got 75,000 BTU, 185,000 BTU. Anyway, if you like the video, appreciate a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thanks for watching my channel. Bye for now.